All right, guys, welcome back to the Prediction Strike UFC podcast. I'm David. We got the full crew today. We got Wells, we got Jackson, we got Grant. We're going to do a quick recap of an exciting weekend. We're going to get into our investment we're going to get into our investment picks for this weekend's UFC Fight Night. Let's go ahead and get started.
All right. So looking ahead, kind of here, I don't know if I guess Chidi hasn't been IPO'd on Prediction Strike, it looks like, because I've tried searching his name like 3 times into the bar and he's just yet to be IPO'd. So maybe that comes today. So we're going to check out Michael.
I found him at 91 cents.
91 cents. Maybe my browser's just being weird. So of course, it signed me out. Wonderful. Let's see if I can pull him up now. I'm a genius. Yep, there he is. 91 cents. All right, so not fresh IPO at all, but we'll put him up on the screen for everyone to see here. Boom. There we go. So we got Chidi here sitting at 91 cents on a bit of a downtrend going up against, help me pronounce this, guys, Michael
Olejniczuk.
That's how we're going to say it. We all said it in unison. It sounded beautiful. So Michael is a little bit more priced up than Chidi, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this fight because you guys said this was a kind of a fight that you guys were a little bit interested in. I heard a little bit kind of a lean partially towards GD, but see where we're kind of going at with this specific fight.
Yeah, I mean, they have pretty comparable prices on Prediction Strike. It looks like Michael is up, a few cents at 98 cents. And both of these guys are pretty big finishers. I mean, Olejniczuk has got looks like 13 KOs and multiple submissions. And GD is someone who comes just like guns ablazing, and he's accurate and he's extremely athletic. I think he gets to the mark before Michael does. So just based on both their styles and Chidi being a little faster and a little more accurate, I think there's some value there with Chidi. And just a fun fight overall. It's going to be a great intro to the main card.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of, me with numbers and stuff like that. I just see a 6-year age difference, and I'm kind of like, you know what? Let's go with a younger guy. So I am going to be on the Michael side just to cause a little bit of chaos to start us off here. But speaking of chaos, I think we have some redemption time before we really get into this. What do you guys think? Because it sounds
been a
like
long time coming.
I thought
didn't
they'd
pan out
forget.
as we thought.
It's a triple, double, or nothing.
I got a little, excited last week with our guy Damone Blackshear, who's on a little roll, who was looking sharp, and it took a little underdog. Yeah, we went double or nothing on the shots. I already owed them 2, and I was aggressively threw out double or nothing. I don't know why. But I do have the juice.
Let's go.
So this is what we'll do for it. We'll do it in between each fight so we don't kill you right off the rip. Because otherwise, unless if you want to do all of them in one rip, that's entirely up to you. I'm not advocating for it.
How about you guys can just pick when I rip? I'll do one rip now. I didn't bring a shot glass up because I'm an idiot, so I'm just going to rip from the bottle.
I'll say just do tiny rips.
Like a savage.
Yeah. How about Grant? How about we just judge his picks and make him take them based on whether or not we like his pick for tonight?
Sounds good. That's good with me.
I'm good with that. I'm good.
All right.
Good with that.
So with that said, it sounds like we're moving over to the main card in itself, and may God help us all. Now, the first fight that we're looking at is Tafa versus Porter. I remember Tafa didn't get to finish his last fight, if I remember correctly. I don't believe it was against Porter, though. And he's sitting up on a kind of a nice rise here at $1.39, a little bit above 33%. And we have Parker Porter sitting at, what are we looking at here? 94 cents. So it's a very big discrepancy. You're probably looking about like a 10, maybe 9 to 14% gain would be my guesstimation off of how I'm looking at these prices. The consensus seems to be kind of in line for the most part. If anything, Porter might be a little bit too undervalued on Prediction Strike. But what are you guys looking at in this particular fight?
I mean, this one in particular, it's hard for me to really get excited about. Parker Porter, yeah, I do think he's undervalued, and he's definitely a live dog in this fight. But at his age and his position in the company, I just don't see his price really going much higher. Obviously with the win a little bit, but I see a pretty low ceiling on where he's going to be going. If you're playing the long game, I tend to play a little bit longer investments, so it's not super interesting for me. Justin Tafa, a little bit younger. All his wins are by knockout, so 100% finish rate in his wins. And he's a little priced a little bit higher than Parker Porter, which is the funniest fat guy name in the world. I just want to call him Porker. The Porker. But I still think, if I'm investing in either of these guys, I'm investing on Justin Tafa. He gets knockouts. He's younger. And I don't know, he's got that fun, like, island, just badass tattoo kind of vibe. He's with that whole crew.
Shui.
The Shui Tai Tuivasa crew. So I'm with them. I'm going to ride with them on this one.
Yeah, I'll stick with you on that one. I think the 12-year age gap is just tough to pass up. Tafa didn't look amazing in his last fight, but I just think with the potential to string a couple together, and he's still young enough to make a push if he gets hot. So yeah, I'm not going to pass that one down.
I'll go opposite of you guys on this one and push for some value here. I don't want to say this is a great matchup, but I do think it could go either way, honestly. And I think if Tafa doesn't get it done in the first round, it's going to be a slog. And I think Porter has the experience gap to kind of to get it through 3 rounds, get it to decision, play smart, step back a little bit, and let the hits come to him. And I think with the value considered on Prediction Strike, the experience gap could actually come into play favorably here.
Yeah, I'm just going to ride with our group consensus here and ride with Tafa. 12 years is way too much for me. Give me age before beauty in this kind of sense, although I wouldn't say either one of them is particularly beautiful. But I am going to ride with the Tafa train. It's kind of interesting just seeing how much of a pump has already kind of gone into there. So that kind of seems where the Prediction Strike community is as well. So hopefully it all pays off for us and Jackson slows down on his hot streak. But I'm worried now because he's on the opposite side of our coin.
Parker Porter could get it done. Looks like he's beating up guys at the lake every weekend. So, I wouldn't put it past him.
All right, moving on to our next fight. It seems like every fight we've talked about so far has at least a 6-year age gap, so it's kind of interesting. We have Blanchfield versus Taila Santos. So we're going to look at Santos's price here first to kind of get a general consensus where she is. $3.37, not too bad. Versus Blanchfield, who I feel like is going to be lower than that for some reason. Yeah, she is. So you've got a little bit of a value buy here on Prediction Strike, where Blanchfield's sitting at $3.14. You can see there's been a lot of people buying into her ahead of this fight. So if you're going to be buying right now, you need to be wary because there is a pump that looks like it started around $2.62. So there's a lot of volume here. So you do have to worry about that. We talked a little bit about the age gap already, but where are you guys kind of thinking for this fight? I know a lot of people kind of have Blanchfield as a future potential champion in this division, but want to hear where you guys are thinking about.
I have mixed feelings on this one. I'm super interested, but I'm gonna let Jackson or Grant go first.
Yeah, so I'm honestly loaded up on Blanchfield in my own personal account. I think she's got this one. Obviously, Taila Santos is going to be a handful for her. She's great. She upset Shevchenko with the sub, looking really good there, even though she's more of a striking heavy or forward fighter, I would say. I just think that Blanchfield has been on a tear recently, and Aaron Blanchfield. Both of them are potentially on the way to a title belt. I think the drives there. Her performance has been killer in her last few fights and has been fighting well recently. It's been a year since Talia has done anything spectacular. So I'll go with Blanchfield.
Yeah, I will also lean Blanchfield in this one. I think the division's in a little bit of chaos. We just saw Valentina lose somewhat recently. I think they will be fighting again soon, if I'm correct. But I think if Blanchfield gets this one done, she'll be in line for the winner of that one. And I think just with the age gap as well, that there's so much potential for Blanchfield to even win this one, lose a title fight, get back in there, eventually win the title. She's only 24, so there's just so much ahead. And I would be shocked if she doesn't eventually take the belt in that division. So I think if you get in now, either way, you'll be getting some good value at some point in the future.
I agree with that. I like, I'm a big fan of future investments. I will say, keep in mind, Talia, yes, she's been out a year. This is, to me, very clearly looks like a number one contenders match. Talia should have gotten the win over Shevchenko. She got the split decision loss. It was very controversial. She mauled Shevchenko for 3 rounds of that fight. And I feel like she's got a chip on her shoulder. She's been out for a year. She's been thinking about this for a year. So if there was one girl that was going to give Erin Blanchfield issues, I think on the roster right now, it's Talia Santos. So I am a little bit more nervous about this than most Blanchfield fights. But I still think what Grant said is true. Win or lose, Blanchfield is the investment opportunity here. Honestly, if Talia wins this one, I'm still investing in Erin Blanchfield.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys here. It just makes the most sense. I do think this fight goes the distance because I think, as David kind of pointed out, they're both kind of future contenders to a degree. I mean, Santos really just was. So, yeah, I'm going to go for the full distance.
All right, boys, let's rip it. All right, make sure to download Prediction Strike. It is an investment app for sport and a great alternate to betting. You can invest in your favorite athletes without the all-or-nothing gamble. Watch your favorite athletes grow your bank account. Download Prediction Strike where it pays to be a thing.
Right. All right. Awesome. Thank you, David. Now, let's get into the final kind of part of this card here. We have Rinya Nakamura versus Fernie Garcia. I have a feeling I pronounced Fernie's name wrong. I don't know.
But no, I think you nailed both those.
Let's go. All right. So 24% rise already on Nakamura. IPO, he's kind of skyrocketing. As you can see the buying here, it just looks like a straight up candle. Whereas you have Fernie here, he is way underpriced compared to him. So you're going to be looking at a massive discrepancy in terms of prices more than anything. So, just to kind of put it in perspective, Rinya is sitting at about 7 to 12% gain, whereas Fernie is looking 31 to 36. So if you want value, Fernie is your guy. But you got to understand that it feels like everyone and their mom is like, Rinya is not going to lose this fight. He's going to remain undefeated. And I'm assuming probably a lot of people have this going very short in terms of like a submission or a knockout or something. But want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Totally. I mean, this looks like an exciting fight. Nakamura, super exciting contender. I think you're right. I think people are expecting this one to kind of be as like a, almost like a good coming out party opportunity for Rinya. And I think that's why we're seeing that candlestick there. But I think, I think it's warranted. And I think he is going to be an exciting contender. For me, when I see something like that, it's still, under $1.50 or under $2, and with someone that exciting, I still see value in those things. So, I'm leaning Rinya side as far as investments go.
Yeah, I'm also leaning towards Nakamura here. I honestly think it's going to be. I just agree with general consensus. It's going to be a slam dunk for him. He's undefeated, 1 in 33 seconds last time. Garcia, on the other hand, has lost his only 2 fights in the UFC and wins by decision far more often than he does by knockout or by submission. So, I think like, especially if you want to take into it being a decision victory into account, Lerena is still the far and ahead my favorite choice here.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with you guys on this one. I don't see a way where Renia loses this one. I think the hype train continues to build, and we'll see him keep getting some more experienced fighters, and we'll see what happens then.
All right, seems like we're all in alignment here. It just doesn't make sense to not really kind of invest in Renia. I can understand if you want to wait till after the fight in case there's a sell-off. Makes perfect sense. Just want to avoid the theoretical hype that's going on. But moving on to our next fight, we have Giga Chikadze.
Guys, if we keep agreeing on everything, there's no shots that are going to be had. What's going on
here? Versus Alex. Is it Caceres or Caceres?
Caceres.
All right. So,
Bruce Leroy.
Also known Leroy Jenkins. Anyways, so $1.60 for our guy Alex here, with a 20% kind of rise in the past year versus Giga, who is sitting at $2.64. So we already see kind of the big lean for a lot of these people, or at least price wise, it's going to be Giga who falls in line with kind of consensus here. You're looking at a potential like 25+% gain off of going with Caceres here. It's entirely dependent upon how you guys see this fight going. I'm curious to see where you guys are landing.
I'm a huge Bruce Leroy fan, and there was a time several years ago where I thought he was going to get cut, and he just turned his career around. He started getting some cool wins, a couple finishes. They're both tall, lanky dudes. I think Giga's valued higher just because, this is a guy that with a string of 2 or more wins is right there, like in, top contender or even title contention. And he had that trajectory before he met Calvin Kattar, had that little stumble, but it wasn't that bad of a stumble. Like, this guy is a top tier fighter for sure. I love Bruce Leroy, but I don't see him winning this fight, and I could definitely see Giga's price going, well over $3, even into the $4 range in the next year or so. So again, I'm long game Jackson over here. I'm still seeing value on Giga Chikadze. What about you guys?
Yeah, I would lean Giga as well. I think his path to the belt, like you said, is just way cleaner. He had strung together 9 straight wins until that Calvin Kattar fight that you touched on. And I think if he gets this one going, he gets hot a little bit. He's 34, so it's going to have to happen quicker than some of the younger fighters we talked about earlier. There's not as much future potential if he has a stumble here. But if he gets through Caceres, I think he strings together a couple more, and we see him being talked about for a potential title fight where that investment will definitely pay off.
Yeah, I don't think logically here I would go with Giga. Like he's a powerful volume striker, and as Grant said, I think his road is a little bit cleaner to the belt. But I like the value here on Caceres. He's on the best run of his life right now, and he's sort of like an all-around fighter. I feel like you don't really have to worry about him too much in any one department. And honestly, I would say more well-rounded than Giga. Probably not the better striker, though. I'm going to go with Caceres Leroy here for value. Wow. And just to go against you fools.
I'm actually on this one with Jackson because I was looking at this and I was like, they're both 4-1 in their last 5. And like, I imagine Caceres has a lot more experience technically in the UFC. He's got 34 fights compared to 17. So I don't know. It's a weird one. They're about the same age. I'm going to ride on this one for the value as well. I think it'll be a fun one. And just to add some spice to it, I think it's going to be inside the distance round 2. I think that's where we see this fight get finished up. I don't think it goes the full distance. Submission or knockout, one of the two. I can't tell. You said poor striking, so I'm going to lean with more towards the submission side.
I like that.
Fair.
All right. So we got 2 more fights to go here. We got Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann. This is going to be an interesting one, as we don't have any sort of age things to give us going here. But Anthony Smith is sitting at $2.75. Plenty of experience in the fight game. So kind of a bit of buy the dip opportunity versus Ryan Spann, who is sitting at $2.87. So you have a little bit of a value thing going on here, right? If you're a believer in Anthony Smith, that's really going to be about like 14 to 16% gains. If you go 14 to 19% if you go with Ryan Spann, 16 to 21 if you go with Anthony Smith, depending upon where you see the value in this fight. But for warning, from what it's looking like here, there's a lot of buyers already ahead of this fight. So how do you guys see this one going?
I have a feeling this one shot might be coming. I don't think we're going to agree on this one. Ryan Spann versus Anthony Smith, a rematch. If you didn't know, Anthony Smith made this guy look like a fool the last time they fought. Ryan Spann since then has kind of gotten his life together. He apparently started training because he never was training for fights before. I don't know how you get into the UFC without training for fights. But he does seem like he's legitimately getting better. He lacks a little bit in the jiu-jitsu department. He's got a good guillotine, but he got choked out by Nikita Krylov somewhat recently. I think Anthony Smith coming back up, trying to prove himself after his last couple outings. I think he pulls his jiu-jitsu out of his back pocket, gets a submission, and 2 fights over Ryan Spann. What do you guys think? And obviously by the jib. Come on, Anthony Smith, all day.
Yeah, this one's tough. I don't really know where to lean with this. Anthony Smith's fought just about everyone in this division, from John Jones to Gustafsson to Teixeira. I mean, he definitely has the experience on this one. He's fought a lot of guys that are better than Ryan Spann. I just think that the Spann value is better. I think he's a fresh name that I think if he strings some things together could fly at the boards a little bit. I also think that he will just come in with a little bit of vengeance and is not going to want to leave that arena with the same embarrassment he had the last time these two faced off. This one's super close. I can honestly see it going either way, but I will lean Spann with this one.
All right. Well, I think we lost Jackson for a second here, so I'll go through my analysis and then maybe we'll take a second break to have a drink. But Anthony Smith, I think I'm going to just take the recency bias. As you guys said, he won before. Now he's technically undervalued to a degree from last time. And just to add some spice to the other side of the coin, I will go that direction. But in the meantime, while we wait on Jackson, we will start catching up on our disagreements from the past.
As promised.
There we go. All right. Now we got Jackson back.
Oh,
thanks.
Just saw it happen just in the nick of time. Let's go, David.
That's good.
There we go. All right. So back to the fight real quick as we took a second breather there. Let's go back to Jackson. Anthony Smith or Ryan Spann. How do you see this fight going down?
I think I agree. Well, I only heard David's take on this, but I agree with David. I think Smith is going to do it again. Spann definitely has a chance here if he can get a nasty strike in sometime around the beginning of the fight. But I think he still looks generally like a little bit wobbly on his feet, a little brittle, and like he's obviously not as good on the mat as Smith ever has been. Smith is a little bit worse, probably, arguably even, than he was in 2021 when they first fought. But I still think it's a fight leaning towards him.
Right on. I was surprisingly in line with you, so I'm feeling pretty decent about my pick so far today. But moving on to our last fight, we have Max Holloway versus the Korean Zombie. If memory serves correctly, these prices are massively different. So if you are looking for value, it's going to be similar to the Rina situation, in which it's going to be a very small game for someone like Max Holloway, around like 8 to 13% here, and he's getting a little bit of a pump going. Whereas the Korean Zombie, I'm pretty sure is about like $3.38, but I will just make sure. Yep, $3.38. So you're looking at like a 28 to 33% gain if he somehow gets the W here. Do you think there's any redemption for the Korean Zombie, or do you think Max Holloway's boxing is just going to shine once again?
I'm going to let you boys go first.
I mean, I think Holloway will pretty clearly and handily win this fight. I would say he gets him out somewhere in the first few rounds. Korean Zombie obviously has a chin on him, but I just see Max being far too superior in this one. I am curious, however, maybe I could get your take on this, David, but where does Max go from here after a win here? I feel like the world is kind of tired of the Max versus Volk debate. It looked closer 4 years ago, and then we saw what happened recently, and I just don't know if I would want to see that fight. I think Volk has his mind on 2 belts right now, and is going through some other situations, and I just don't know how Max gets his way back in there. Maybe Volk goes up a division and Max fights Yair or someone like that for this belt, but the investment opportunity doesn't seem to be too strong, just because I find him having a tough time getting back up to a title fight in this division.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that. It's a tough one. I mean, this fight still looks like tailor-made for Max Holloway to walk away looking like a stud.
Mm-hmm.
Almost confused why Korean Zombie would take the fight. Obviously, they're both like OGs of the weight class that just never got matched up, so it kind of makes sense. But also, I feel like the writing is on the wall for this fight. Everyone, like Korean Zombie, he's not super quick. Max Holloway's going to be long and just box his ears off, feels like, until the fight gets stopped. It's kind of similar to what happened with Volk and Zombie.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see this fight going. But I mean, I agree that it's hard to pick an investment either way. You know, Zombie's kind of at his ceiling. Max Holloway, big question mark there. I think honestly, Max Holloway gets a big win here, announces a move to 155. I think he's at a point in his career that he's not really wants to cut that much weight anymore. The whole Volkanovski thing is played out, like you mentioned. So I think he picks up a win and uses that momentum to kind of like give him some heat going into the 155 division. The last time he was there, he lost a close decision to Dustin.
Who's someone you would want to see him? Who's someone you would want to see him target in a fight at 155 if he were to move up?
Conor McGregor, the rematch. They fought at 145 years ago.
That would be very cool, yeah.
When Max was like brand new, it might have been his first or second fight on the scene, and did pretty well against McGregor until it didn't. But I think the Max versus Conor rematch at 155 is what the people want, what they didn't know they wanted, but what they wanted, and I think there's a big possibility for that. So
could totally see that.
In that sense, there's a little value there on Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have said enough about this fight already, so I'm basically just gonna give my take. I just don't see where the Zombie can win anywhere in this fight. Like, does he have enough striking power for Holloway? No. Like, is he gonna take him down on the mat? No. I think does he have volume on his side? No. I just think it's gonna be a slaughterhouse for Holloway.
I will say, so Korean Zombie does have one of 3 I think for what they call this crazy submission. It's called like a Texas Twister or something like that. But he's one of only 3 fighters to get a submission like that. So maybe if he hits the mat, he's got a chance.
We could see a twister.
Did he hit it like 8 years ago or something?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah. But I need to look into that. That sounds
He could hit him with what Yair hit him with, a little buzzer beater. Crowd goes wild. Yeah.
I'm just going to stick with you guys. Max Holloway, just take it all the way back to the bank. Nothing too crazy. I don't know. I felt like this was not an easy card to go through, but relatively simple for the most part. Yeah. Anyways, I don't think we really have too much to discuss here for the rest of this kind of going thing. We've got fantasy football really kind of coming around the corner. So this will be an interesting card to see how it goes down. We had an absolute banger last week. Jackson was able to be in attendance for that. Got some content with Matt Steamroller for Vola. And then got to see the knockout, not heard around the world, but a pretty big one in terms of the UFC sector. But I think that's really all we have for today.
I was completely wrong on my Aljo take, but I'm willing to wear that one. I'm happy for Sean.
That was like the correct take, though. Honestly,
It was the correct.
I totally thought it was, but hey.
No, it was 100% the right take. It was just like, it's one of those things where it's like everyone's screaming it, and you're just like, I got to go the opposite, because like it doesn't make sense to be everyone's screaming for an underdog to win, and then like, yeah.
I don't know why he was trying to strike with him. It just looked off from the second the fight started, but.
Yep.
You know, want to know something that's crazy now that I saw after that Sugar Show win? Underdogs and pay-per-view fights in the last 28 or 27 are 13-14.
Wow.
In the main card.
Wow.
Yeah, in the main card. Crazy.
That's good to know.
Interesting going into, Sean Strickland versus Adesanya, Korean Zombie versus Holloway. There's some,
a bunch of
by the numbers, one of those underdogs wins.
Exactly.
And crazy. We've also seen, I think, 5 new champs in 2023 already. Maybe we'll add to that in the coming months, but that seems pretty crazy.
So going off of that logic, there's really 2 massive favorites in this fight that we can look at. It's Rina and Max Holloway. If you had to choose one of those 2 guys to lose this weekend, who would it be?
Rina.
Probably Rina. I think they're both as big of consensus favorites, but Holloway's just too experienced, I think, to have a fluke loss, whereas Rina, he looked great, but who knows? Like, something could happen that he just somehow takes a freak loss. So yeah, I would lean Rina.
I would honestly lean Holloway. I would honestly lean Holloway just because like the Korean Zombie is like a goat. Like I feel like you should never just like instantly rule out a name like that. Like he could always do something. Whereas I feel like Rina he looks so nice, and the other guys never KO'd anybody. Like.
Just clip it to when all of a sudden the other guy gets like a first round knockout for the first time in his career. But anyways, I think that's all we have today. It was a good time chatting with you guys once again. We will be back next week to see exactly how our investments are doing and if we're still building y'all's portfolio. Jackson stays on his hot streak. I can figure things out. And then, we'll kind of see how it all plays out. Thank you guys so much once again. Don't forget to like, subscribe, download Prediction Strike. And until next time, peace.
Peace.